Man, oh man, there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining, yet we are supposed to believe that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you are already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay, so here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there, even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing except for trying to put on a show for the apprentice or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem, the one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. If the gentleman would like to respond to any of that. Well, I mean, I'll respond. Kash Patel, as I said when I introduced him, public defender, former prosecutor, top staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, Deputy Director of National Intelligence with the National Security Council, Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, and FBI Director. I think that's a pretty good resume for the guy who's now running the top law enforcement agency in our country. And we've seen all the stats that he's given to the committee on how much better they're doing at getting the bad guys than the previous guy was doing. With that, I recognize the gentleman from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, I think you're witnessing some auditions, clickbait auditions for the Academy Award for my Democratic colleagues. We'll see how they fare as they're on MSNBC later on today. But do you care, before I launch into my line of questioning, to respond to Ms. Crockett from Texas on that very elaborate and theatric display?
Here's what I've learned in my government service. I don't give a damn what they say about me as long as I'm succeeding in the mission. We're succeeding in the mission because the men and women of the FBI have never been empowered to do more work and to hit the streets harder than by President Trump's authorities and resources he's given us. And so all I care about is that we are capturing more child predators than ever before, taking more drugs off the streets than ever before, that we are capturing murderers at a significantly historic rate, and we're delivering this country the lowest murder rate in recorded history. That are facts that you cannot dispute. But you can come at me all you want. I don't care.
All right, y'all. So, this is one of those clips where you can feel the temperature of the room through the screen. Because what you just watched isn't a polite policy debate. It's a straight-up collision of two realities. One side saying, we are not safe and you're the reason. And the other side saying, look at the numbers, mission accomplished. And the reason this is going viral is simple. Jasmine Crockett didn't come to ask questions. She came to put a label on the moment. She opens with facts, and then she drops the headline, least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI. That's not a normal congressional jab. That's a delegitimization move. She's basically saying, you don't belong in that seat, and the country is paying for it. Then she does what Crockett does best. She turns the hearing into a moral prosecution. She's not just critiquing leadership style, she's arguing harm. She's talking about death threats against members of Congress, someone trying to kill a colleague, and she ties it to a bigger point. The FBI can't protect people if it won't even name the biggest source of political violence, right-wing extremism. Whether you agree with her framing or not, the strategy is crystal clear. She's forcing the conversation off vibes and onto who is actually being targeted in America right now. And then she goes even harder because she brings identity and lived fear into it. As a black woman, I don't feel safe. That line matters because it shatters the comfort blanket some people wrap themselves in. Things are fine. She's saying, fine for who? And that's why the clip hits, because she's not performing neutral. She's performing alarm. She's narrating a country where the people with power keep saying we're safe, while whole communities are thinking we're the ones being hunted, threatened, and ignored. Now here's where the clip turns into a political cage match. The chairman cuts her off, time expired, and then immediately does the standard defense move, resume stacking. Public defender, prosecutor, intel committee, deputy DNI, national security, chief of staff at defense. Basically, the argument is you can't call him unqualified. Look at this resume. But notice what just happened. Crockett is arguing qualification to lead the FBI specifically, including culture, priorities, and threat assessment. The response is general government pedigree. That's two different arguments passing each other in the hallway. And then comes the South Carolina member with the disrespect grenade, clickbait auditions, Academy Award, MSNBC later. That's not a rebuttal. That's an attempt to reduce Crockett's message to performance so nobody has to engage the substance. It's the oldest move in Washington. If you can't beat the point, attack the tone. And then Patel himself steps in with the other half of the viral formula, pure defiance. He basically says, I don't care what they say about me. And politically, that's red meat. That's the tough guy posture. I'm here to do a job, not win your approval. Then he drops his shield, stats, stats, stats. More child predators caught than ever. More drugs off the streets than ever. Murderers captured at historic rates. Lowest murder rate in recorded history. And he finishes with facts you cannot dispute. But here's the thing. This is where viewers split into two camps instantly. If you're already inclined to trust him, the numbers sound like proof he's winning. If you don't trust him, it sounds like a PR dump meant to bulldoze past concerns about extremism, staffing, and priorities. And Crockett anticipated that, which is why she attacked the victory lap behavior, posting about arrests, taking credit, calling it a show. She's not just saying you're wrong, she's saying the institution is being turned into a stage prop. So what's the real story here? This clip is not only about Kash Patel, it's about the question underneath everything. What is the FBI for right now? Is it primarily a street-level enforcement machine that proves success through arrests and seizure numbers? Or is it a domestic threat and democracy protection institution that has to prioritize political violence, extremist networks, and targeted intimidation? Crockett is screaming, you're ignoring the fire that's burning down the house. Patel is saying, we're putting criminals in cuffs and I'm not apologizing for it. And that's why it's explosive, because both arguments are emotionally irresistible to different audiences. One is rooted in fear and lived vulnerability. The other is rooted in control, punishment, and scoreboard politics. If you're turning this into a vlog segment, the hook is simple. This wasn't a hearing. It was a referendum on who gets protected in America and who gets dismissed as theatrical when they demand it. And that's where we have to leave it, because what you just watched wasn't drama. It was a warning flare. On one side, Jasmine Crockett is demanding an FBI that names the threat, prioritizes the danger, and protects people who are being targeted right now, not just with speeches, but with real action and real accountability. On the other side, Kash Patel is daring everyone to look only at arrest numbers and results, as if statistics alone can erase fear, silence intimidation, or rebuild trust in a country that feels like it's splitting at the seams. And that's the question this hearing puts on the table for all of us. Are we building public safety for everyone, or just celebrating a scoreboard while communities feel abandoned? If you made it to the end, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Crockett was calling out a real crisis, or do you think Patel's mission defense holds up? And if you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video, because the only way we cut through the noise is by staying locked in and holding power to the fire.